E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Finding Health Naturally. Wednesdays, Mentoring Our Youth. Thursdays, Pets We Love. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our host, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. The 6-Minute Webinar is a tool that was created by Don McGrath and Bill Heinrich, and Don created a little app called ScriptPal, and all you do is answer specific bullet point questions. Because if your client or someone that you're talking to, if they're interested in, I'll pick weight loss because that's a popular one. If they're interested in weight loss and you have a weight loss program or you offer weight loss products, all they want to hear is what you can do about helping them lose weight. But so many times we want to give them the shotgun effect. We want to tell them everything, and it's just too much information. Another good example of what the 6-Minute Webinar totally eliminates is when you click on a ad or something and it takes you to this big, long, I don't know who the Einstein was who came up with these webinars. They go on for 20 minutes about what the problem is. If you didn't understand or was interested in the problem, you would be there in the first place. Tell me what you can do for me. And that's what the 6-Minute Webinar does. Be sure and check it out. And also, too, I mentioned Bill Heinrich. I got to mention a couple of things about Bill. Bill's book, Bill is a personal friend of ours. He's a personal friend of Dr. George Grant, our guest today. Dr. George Grant is also, he also is very familiar with the 6-Minute Webinar, the power it does in getting your message across. But the 7 Levels of Truth is Mr. Bill's book. It's on Amazon. That is a photograph right there of Mr. Bill Heinrich. And we want to give a shout out to Mr. Bill Heinrich because Saturday night he had a heart attack and he had to have stents, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. He was on his way home. But Bill, our thoughts and our prayers are with you, brother. I'm the older one of the bunch. I'm 2 months older than Bill, so he calls me Dad sometimes, teasing me. And of course, I've had an open heart surgery, had a heart attack, open heart surgery, and all that. And I've got a little program that I share and give and share with others. I did a 6-minute webinar on it called Lessons from the Heart. And that's the beauty in it. You're able to talk about a subject that you have some skin in the game. And I mentioned Dr. George Grant. We're brothers by different mothers, and he came from the intelligence side of life. And wait a minute, he got intelligence and good looks. And luck too. I mean, I'm trying to think now. Anyway, I'll try to figure that out during the broadcast. But right now, let's invite Mr. George Grant to the show, and thank you very much for joining us today. George, how you doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you for the comment about my look.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to share with you that Dr. Grant has an AO scanner. And that AO scanner is a little handheld device you see right there. And what it does, it records your voice, and be sure and clean up anything I, goof up here. But it records your voice and it creates an image of your body, what's going on, like a 3D MRI is the best way I can describe it. And it points out, you know, red flags is what it does. Problem areas. If you got green flags in there, hey, you can whistle Dixie. But if you got red flags, you better pay attention to it, because I had some red flags in my heart and I made a mistake. My mistake was, all the way through my adult life, I go see the doctors, get physicals. Hey, you're doing great. Blood pressure is good, 120 something over 68 to 74. LDL was good. 2 years before my heart attack, my LDL, the bad cholesterol, was at 73. And in the hospital, after I had my heart attack, October the 29th, 2001, it was only 93. By the medical standard, I should still be under the radar. But being in the hospital that Friday night after my heart attack, and Saturday and Sunday and all that, Monday morning when I went in for the stents, that's when they discovered I had a condition known as the widowmaker. And the cardiologist says, these stents are not going to work for you. He says, you need open heart surgery. You need it today. You're going to need 4 bypasses. We cannot put this off. It's too serious. I'm going to take you in ICU and we'll get you fixed today. And the surgeon, Dr. Charles Smith, over with the Bryan College Station hospital there, the Scott and White Bryan College Station, he came in and he is kind of like, I liked him immediately, his personality. He is kind of like tapped me on the shoulder and he says, I got one procedure ahead of you and we'll get you in there and we'll get you fixed up. Oh, okay. And he was gone. That was it. He didn't tell me he's going to use super glue to glue me back together in my chest or any of that stuff. And it was a wonderful experience. And it really was, because I didn't have any pain. But also, too, Dr. Grant, forgive me for blabbing so much. I want to give a shout out to all of you wonderful people that work in the medical field, especially the nurses. And I would like to even thank the surgical team that worked on me. I knew the surgical nurse. She was the one that wheeled me in and we talked, and I saw her afterwards, and I knew Dr. Smith, my surgeon. But take, for example, the person who runs the lung and air machine. I know it's got a fancier name than that, oxygen, but this is the machine that keeps your blood flowing with oxygen while your heart is stopped during surgery. And Dr. Grant, I'd just like to say to him, thank you. And also a big time thank you that when I checked out of there, I wasn't any dumber when I first checked in. At least not that I know of anyway. Welcome to the show. Did I do the AO scanner a little justice there?
I think you did, Jim. And we did detect some problem with your left ventricle there. And you know what? You did not heed my advice at that time. You were busy and so on with all of the shows. So that's what happened when you ignore all of the stuff here. But you recovered fully. You do not look in your mid-70s. You look in your mid-60s, 10 years younger, even though you had open heart surgery. You look much younger. You look very handsome. You look very good. You look very good.
Especially when the lights are out, ladies and gentlemen. You put me in the
I'm
dark.
So proud of you.
I'm
you know what? You promote prevention instead of intervention. Nobody want to go through open heart surgery. Nobody want to go through heart attack. And my prayers go to my good friend and colleague, Bill. This is the first time I know that he had a heart attack. So please ask him to contact me ASAP as soon as he got back from the hospital. I'll help him with the scan, and then we'll do the scan for him and see exactly what's happening. And then we'll help him to recover like we help you to recover fully, within a very short time. So please send him my best regards to do that. So.
And ladies and gentlemen, also, if you see the email address there, inspiration@E360TV, whether you're watching us live on YouTube, Facebook, or out there in TV land, or if you watch this video on demand, if you would like, I tell you what, let me do this here. Let me take myself out of the picture here. If you would like Dr. Grant to do a scan on you, go to his website, academyofwellness.com. Because I tell people, and clean this up if you do it differently, I tell people, like on a Zoom call, he just holds that thing up while you're talking, and that's all there is to it. You don't even have to get out of your pajamas. You can be in the comfort of your home, and he will send you it's a long report, trust me. But anyway, you can take that report and any red flags, you can go to your doctor and say, hey, Dr. Grant with the AO scanner, and I'll have him explain what AO stands for and how it works and all that. But anyway, he did a scan on me, and these red flags showed up. I need to address these red flags because red flags do not go away. They're like a speeding ticket. If you don't show up or if you don't pay that speeding ticket, they're going to come after you.
Yes.
And that thing is not going to go away. It's like ugliness and bad breath. It's just going to hang around.
Yes.
Now, the AO, what does that stand for, AO?
It stands for Alpha and the Omega. But one of my students, actually, it says, he said that it stands for analyze and optimize, which I like, actually.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yes,
What it does.
it does detect and correct. It's basically, Jim, as you explained it eloquently, it's a virtual voice frequency scan. 15-second voice get recorded to produce 220 pages of long report that you can take to your physician, and you can tell them these are the red flag that we found out from this quantum voice scan. It's a quantum frequency based on quantum physics. And by the way, voice print, same as fingerprint, same the eyes, iris print in the eyes. These are the three things that every person get identified among 8 billion people on Earth. So it's fairly accurate, 95% accuracy to a blood test, to CT scan, MRI, PET scan. So it's based on quantum energy, quantum frequency, and people are amazed how accurate this is if they compare that with a former blood test or MRI or PET scan. It's very accurate.
Yeah,
Yes.
blood test is a good place to start, and it's a good foundation. But the AO scanner, it just takes it to the next level.
Yes.
There is no test out there. In fact, it was after I had my heart attack, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're going to be talking about dehydration,
Yes.
and we'll get to that in just a moment.
Yes.
But it was after I had my heart attack that I found out the UCLA medical department back in 2009 said they put a report. It's out there on the internet. You can Google it and search it yourself. That 75% of the people who wind up in an ER with a heart attack were just like me.
Right.
Blood pressure was good, low cholesterol, no real red flags. Bam. And now a lot of medical doctors do not agree with those numbers, but there's an issue. Trust me when I tell you, when you wind up in the ER with a heart attack, they don't call your family physician. They call a cardiologist.
Yes.
Many, many, many times, the family doctor doesn't even see the patient. In my case, when I checked into the Scott and White Hospital here, Scott and White Baylor Hospital, excuse me, my doctor who is in that system, he got an email, hey, one of your patients is in the ER. And when I went to see him after I got out of the hospital, they sent me over to see him, have him check me over and all that. He says, Jim, I got an email and you were in ER. And he says, I got to looking at all the things going on with you. Then you go over there and they're running all these tests and, then you go in for stents and then you got to have open heart surgery. I'm thinking, my goodness, this shouldn't be happening to this guy. There's no warning signs here. And he was being honest. But who was the guy on the butcher table? That's when the chickens come home to roost. So I share that with you, ladies and gentlemen, literally from the bottom of my heart, to please, please, please get in touch with Dr. Grant at his website, academyofwellness.com. Have him do that AO scan on you. It will be some of the best money you've ever spent. Plus, you will know that you know that you know that you know what's going on inside with your lungs, your heart, your liver, you know, I mean, everything. It's going to give you either green flags or red flags, and pray for green flags. If you get all green flags, you're good to go. But think about how you would feel, because a lot of people, Doc Grant, let's just talk about this a moment.
Yeah.
I know some people who worry about something going on in their life with their health. And that's perfectly normal, perfectly natural, and perfectly human, but it's also perfectly wrong because worry destroys a lot of your healthy energy inside. And the AO scan can give you the blessed assurance that you need deep down inside.
Yes.
And we've been jabbering on for 15 minutes and we ain't even talked one drop about hydration. How about one drop of hydration? It's amazing, isn't it? But our bodies, we really need to be rehydrated the first thing in the morning. And Dr. Grant, I want you to pick up on this after I get done making this one comment. In the morning when I get up, after I go to the restroom, that's when you weigh yourself. That is your most accurate weight. And you've been fasting all night. That's why they call the first meal of the day breakfast, because you just broke the fast. And what I do, I take a glass of water and I took a slice of lemon and I squeeze it in there and I drink it before I drink anything else. And everybody knows I love coffee and I got to have my coffee. But the important thing is you got to give your body some much needed fluid. Coffee can't do that. Coca-Cola can't do that. Iced tea can't do that. I'm sorry, because I'm a coffeeholic. But I mean, you got to be true to your school. You got to give your body that nourishing liquid called H2O, water, because my goodness, that's very important to kick your day off in the right step, isn't it, Dr. Grant?
Yes, 100%. Jim, you summarized the whole thing here very eloquently and very accurately, because see, water is an essential for human health. In fact, I can say hydration equal health, dehydration equal sickness. And if you actually, you need about half your body ounces in water, not any other fluid, water, H2O, as Jim was saying, half your body ounce in water daily. So if you are like me, about 190 or so you need about 90 ounces of water, which is almost like 12 glasses, so which is about 3 liters. So this is like 1 liter here. Okay. So I drink roughly about 3 of these every single day to make sure I'm fully hydrated. So fully hydrated means fully healthy. If you notice, Jim, the first 4 letter in health is to heal. HEAL. So if you drink water, you will heal. If you're dehydrated, you'll get sick. So I mean, I got 25,000 clients worldwide. 95% drink more coffee, soda, and they drink diet soda and regular soda and iced tea, as you mentioned, and tea and coffee more than water. So what happened now? Their body becomes acidic, and our ideal pH has to be 7.34, 7.35. So if you drink water, which is alkaline, as you mentioned before, if you add lemon, a little bit of apple cider vinegar in your water in the morning, and I do agree with Jim. I drink 1 glass of water first thing I wake up. I like coffee too, so I start my day with black coffee, no milk and no sugar added, just black coffee. I put a little bit of stevia because I like it sweeter. Okay, but stevia is a natural sweetener, so which is great. So if every one of us drink half the body ounce in water, you know what? We will actually be all of us healthy, and that is really how to prevent disease. But so I would highly recommend for your clients, before you do the AO scan, is to go on the academyofwellness.com and complete Wellness IQ, which tell them 10 questions, and it's all free. Okay, 10 questions that they do. It takes 2 to 3 minutes, and then they can find out if their eating habits, drinking habits, sleeping habits, all of the stuff is healthy or not, and it give you a percentage. So you know what, Jim? When you had this problem before, your score was very low, and I remind you with Jeremy Stone. He was actually his wellness IQ before I scanned him was 33%. and he has
Yeah.
diabetes. And
Mm.
you can ask for Jim Grant, the Jeremy story, at our wellness call today at 9
Mhm.
a.m. And he's going to be again at 6 p.m. Eastern on my
Yeah.
website, academyofwellness.com. The link is there.
Mhm.
If you want to join
Mhm.
us, please.
Yeah.
If you know anybody with diabetes, they're going to be inspired by Jeremy Stone story
Oh, yeah.
and Jim
We've
Grant's
asked
story. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we've asked
amazing.
Jeremy to join our show today, and I see him backstage. He's got his camera off. I'd like for him to cut his camera on, and
Okay, yeah, put him on.
there he is.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he can unmute his mic because when he's backstage, we got this real thick curtain that nobody can hear. So he's sitting there smiling at me. But let's welcome him to the stage. And let's just, with our shows, ladies and gentlemen, we flow with the energy. We do not script it
yes.
because we know that we know that we know that the energy will come to us. And I'm not no guru, but I know that the energy will generate itself through the conversation. And we will share information out there to maybe just one person out there in TV land that really needs to hear it. So that's the way we roll. So let's welcome Jeremy, Mr. Jeremy Stone, to the stage here. How you doing, Jeremy?
Hey, Jim, how are you? Thanks for having me on today.
Oh yeah, yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Dr. G, good to see you.
Good to see you,
Yeah.
Jeremy, my
Mhm.
hero.
Yeah. We're talking about hydration today. And of course, I'd like for you to just share a little bit about your health story, your background, what you went through, what Dr. Grant did for you. And then we want to get into how important it is for you to be able to keep good fluids in your body like H2O. Go ahead, sir.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for having me today. I appreciate that. As I was sharing in our call this morning, and we'll be doing this evening again. I've struggled. I was diagnosed with diabetes in 2012. So for nearly 11 years, I've had this disease that has progressively gotten worse, and medical doctors have thrown a number of medications at it as they do. And over the years, I've just have struggled with being able to control it. As everybody probably knows or may not know, that diabetes is one of the most expensive diseases to have.
Oh, yeah.
It is very costly. It
Mm.
costs people in North America and around the world billions of dollars every year.
Mhm.
And over 6.5 million people die from diabetes or diabetes related issues every single year. So
Mm.
it's when we talk about pandemics, diabetes is truly an ongoing pandemic that we've had for quite a while.
Mhm.
So I've struggled with this, and I wasn't the most healthy in all of my choices, but I wasn't really bad neither. But my blood sugar just was out of control, and so there were times when I was living with blood sugars of 400 to 586, which is where you're supposed to be in the hospital, and that's just what I was at. And I'd wake up in the morning at 250, and I should be waking up around 80, and so I just didn't have very good control of it.
Mhm.
So my doctors, they progressively give you more medication and more medication, and
Mhm.
different injections, and there's all these new diabetes is big money in the pharmaceutical world, right? So there's
Oh,
all
yeah.
these new medications that are coming out every year that they say now this is the magic injection or the magic pill. And just to give an idea, my medications, if you pay cash, my medications every month are over $3,500 a month cash, just for the medications that I prescribe.
Mm. Mm.
Most people can't afford that. That's why a lot of
Oh, yeah.
diabetics go without medication.
Mhm.
Even I live in North America, in the United States, and so even with my insurance, my copay is $400 a month, which
Mm.
a lot of people
That's a lot.
can't afford that either. So
Oh, yeah.
a lot of people just go without and they suffer,
Mhm.
and they die. And
Mm.
so my disease had progressed, and I began to get other issues with it, such as neuropathy, which is one of the most extreme nerve pains that you can get in my feet. And so I was taking these medications that have side effects of, cancer and pancreatic cancer and all kinds of other side effects as well. And so I met Dr. G through a business networking event almost a month ago now, and he did his AO scan on me, and I'm telling you, I was a skeptic. I thought it was a bunch of hocus pocus,
Yeah.
and I was like, what is this guy really going to do? Because I've been involved in the medical world. I was a paramedic out of high school in the Army, and so I was very familiar with medicine, and that's what we're taught, right? To just trust our doctors. Our doctors, if they tell you need this medication, you need it, and do that. So I did the scan, and to my surprise, he started pointing things out, and without taking any kind of a health history from me, and
Oh, yeah.
we're looking at this report, and he's pointing out, well, what's going on with your right shoulder? Well, it turns out I'd had surgery in my right shoulder, and I've had issues with it for years. And he asked me what was going on with my thoracic lump vertebrae in my back, and well, I just started seeing a chiropractor to get it adjusted because I was having a kink in that area where that pointed out on the scan report. And then when we got to the blood stuff, I was like, I get blood tests every 3 months, so I was like, it was accurate. That what was going on in the blood test was indicative of, the scan was indicative of what I get on my blood test. And so I was like, there's something to this. I didn't know if it was some kind of psychic thing or what it was, but it was amazing, right?
Yeah, it really was. And yeah, like you say, he didn't ask you a detailed list of what's going on, what your problems were, or anything like that. That AO scanner just picked it right on up.
Picked
And
it up.
in the morning, me and Dr. Grant, we've talked about how important it is to rehydrate your body because you've been fasting all night. And when you get up in the morning, what is one of the first things? I'm not trying to set you up or anything, but what is one of the first things you do when you get up in the morning?
Well, the great question. The first thing I do is I hit the start button on my coffee maker, and then the second thing I do is turn on my water faucet and I grab a glass and I drink a whole down. I drink it. I don't sip it. I guzzle down a whole big mug. In the South here, being in Kentucky, we got the mason jar mugs with the handle on them,
Oh yeah.
And I guzzle down a whole one of those first thing in the morning, and then I'll guzzle down a second one as I take my supplements, and then I go to my pot of coffee.
There you go. Because I tell people, I drink my water first, but then my coffee is just a treat for me. It really is. Because I just, being in the service, I got to tell you a funny little story. I was on Reforger 1 back in 1969 and 7. In 1969, we were there in January and February in Germany. Reforger is an acronym. The Army's real big on acronym, Return of Forces to Germany. They had us sleeping in tents with snow on the ground. And prior to that, when I drank coffee, I'd always drink it with sugar and cream. And so the mess sergeant was setting up his tent, and I went over there, and it was cold, as you can imagine. And I said, "You got any coffee?" He said, "Yeah, it's over there in that container. Help yourself." I said, "Okay." So I went over there, and all they had there wasn't no sugar or cream. And I said, "Hey, Sarge, you got any sugar cream?" He turned around. He's kind of aggravated. He's cold. He says, "Do I look like I'm running a restaurant here?" So from that day forward, I learned how to drink my coffee black.
Yeah.
And that's the way I drink it today.
Yes. Yes.
But, Dr. Grant, you've got thousands of people that follow you.
Yes.
Thousands of people that you've helped change their life.
Yes.
And you know how important it is, and I know that you share with them to drink water, because I've seen people be out in the summertime here in Texas when I worked in the industry I was in, and you see people get all red-faced, they're hot, and what are they doing? They're drinking a Coca-Cola, or they're drinking a soft drink. And that's just a double whammy. It really is.
Yes.
And what does if someone is addicted to soft drinks, because I know people that can't drink anything but soft drinks, or so they think. When they drink soft drinks and do not take proper amounts of water, what are some of the ramifications, if I could put it like that? What are some of the prices they'll pay, or what are some of the things that happens to the body?
Actually, when people drink soda, they get thirsty because soda does not quench their thirst. So they feel even more thirsty and more dehydrated. So I recommend for people to drink the water like what Jim is doing right now, not what Jeremy is doing, because Jeremy is gulping the water. I recommend sipping the water because when you sip the water, it'll absorb. But if you gulp it, in 20 minutes, you're going to go to the bathroom to pee it. So drink the water very slowly, very, very slowly. Sip it like what Jim is doing. Do not do what Jeremy is doing, because I told him that several times, but he has the habit of going.
Doing an internal baptism of himself there.
I know.
It was really just a sip, though. I got it tilted up to drink it. I ain't got a straw.
Yeah. You know what? Drink it from the bottle like this, and then it has to be glass or stainless steel. Never drink the water from a plastic bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Especially a Nestle bottle, which is number 1 in the bottom. This can produce microplastic, BPA, and it's very bad for you. So drink the water from glass or stainless steel, not from plastic bottles, and drink this as slow as you can. And Jeremy actually started to do this. Guess what happened when Jeremy started to drink the water slowly? In fact, he started to put in the water the lemon and apple cider vinegar and stuff. And in 2 weeks, he immediately said, guess what? I lost 10 pounds. I said, what?
Oh, yeah.
10 pounds? But just fully hydrated? Because the body now achieve homeostasis, achieve balance. As I mentioned in the beginning, hydration equal health. And health, the first letter in health is to heal. So hydration heals the body. So hydration is really what we need. So if that's true scientifically, if this is really the golden rule here, to be fully hydrated and fully oxygenated by doing the belly breathing, not shallow breathing, because our body, as basically Jim said in the beginning, our body needs 2 things, H2O, water, and O2, oxygen. So if everybody go to the Wellness IQ at the academyofwellness.com, complete the wellness, the 10 questions, and then they find out that they're below 40, Jeremy and Jim were both under 50 when they first did the Wellness IQ. So Jeremy Stone was 33. Am I correct, Jeremy? About 33?
That's correct, 33.
And then in 2 weeks, when he drank the water, watch his food, watch his diet, take all of the recommended supplements, his Wellness IQ was 77. Can you imagine? Like my Olympic athletes in Canada and the US, they have a score of 90. So Jeremy is only like 12 or 13 points away from being an Olympic athlete. A score of 90. It's like it's a big quantum jump from 33 to 77 in 3 weeks. And what's the difference, Jeremy, in your energy level when you release the 10 pounds? And what's your blood sugar after 3 weeks using these recommendations? It went from, you said 300, 400 to almost like 89 or 90?
Right. So my average over the last week is 98. That's for a 7-day average, which is non-diabetic levels. And that's without any of my 6 medications.
So you stopped your 6th medication, and you were at that time very high blood sugar yourself. I didn't tell you to stop medication, but we don't tell people
you did not. No, that was my own decision.
That was but it was actually a very wise choice, because now without the medication, you saved yourself a couple $100, and then your blood sugar now is under 90.
Yes, it's averaging at 98, which again is
90 under 100. Okay, which is still normal for blood sugar, instead of 300, 400. I'm so proud of you, Jeremy. This is a story I want you to invite people at 6 p.m. tonight. Please, 6 p.m. tonight. And the link, it's going to be Zoom link at the academyofwellness.com. You're going to hear Jeremy's story, but please do not just come alone. I want you to invite at least 10 people who have diabetes and 10 people who have open heart surgery like Jim Grant. Let them hear the story, complete story from Jim Grant and Jeremy Stone, because we want to eradicate diabetes. As Jeremy was saying in the beginning, this is the biggest epidemic in the world, not just in America. I traveled to the Caribbean a lot. The percent of diabetics in the States, about 38%, 37, 38%. And so in Canada, in the Caribbean countries, they're more than 52%. half the population have diabetes. This is why I go there once every 4 months. And I'm telling you, we're going to win this battle against diabetes, type 1, type 2. And then I also named the type 3 dementia. We're going to win the battle against dementia, which leads to Alzheimer. We don't want to even see that. It's all preventable. It's all reversible if we follow simple rules that we're talking about here. And remember, hydration is health, and health is healing. Dehydration is sickness. And it's just like your body cannot live on a desert. In fact, you cannot live without food. You can live without food actually for 40 days. Christ did it. Okay. You cannot live without water for a week. You cannot live without oxygen for 4 minutes. And you cannot live without hope for 1 second. If you lost hope, you cannot go any further. So this is what we tell people, focus on the things that we need. Focus on what you eat, what you put in your mouth. Either it makes you healthy or it makes you sick. And focus on H2O.
You mentioned something earlier about when your body's more acidy.
Yes.
Instead of having a good pH level.
Yes.
Folks, when your body's more acidy, that is the breeding ground for disease.
Yes.
Because every living thing,
yes,
be it cancer,
yes,
be it an elephant, whatever it might be, every living thing from the molecular level all the way up to the big animals, everything on planet Earth needs nourishment to survive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you may not know this story, Dr. Grant. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but back in 2008, I landed in the hospital with a bleeding ulcer, and I didn't even know I had one. And it wasn't from worry or anything like that. It was a peptic ulcer.
Oh, yes.
And they give me the little blue pill. And my wife told me when I came home, you're going to take that medication. Because I asked the nurse, I says, what is this thing for? She says, that's what it's for acid reflux. I said, I don't have acid reflux. Well, that's what we give all of our ulcer patients. So I came home. True story now. And I take it in the morning and oh man, I felt like I had a big metal, just a band coming down tight around the top of my head. And my stomach was nauseated for about an hour and a half. All I felt like doing was laying on the couch. And I thought, this is not going to work. So then I started doing research on it. And I found out the Australians were all over this. Because in the medical community at that time, even one of the doctors told me, he says, well, some people say don't eat this. And some, medical people say don't eat this, do eat that. And others say, yeah, it doesn't really matter. And they had an open end ideas there. There was no definitive answer, but the Australians found that cayenne pepper, when you take it, and I used to take it, I still take it in the pills, the capsules, the red pepper, what it does in the stomach, it does two things. Because the peptic ulcer was brought on by a bacteria known as H. pylori. That's the shortened name of Heliobacteria, whatever it is. Just look up H. pylori, and anybody over 50 can get it just from drinking water. It's very common like that. And what it does, the H. pylori bacteria is like a screw worm. It just screws into the lining of the stomach, and that's how the stomach acid gets in, touches the lining of the stomach, and that's what creates a peptic ulcer. And usually does it right in the curve, the duodenum, where it comes out of the stomach and heads into the small intestine. And that was my case. And but the red pepper, what it does, it creates a hostile environment.
Yes.
For the H. pylori bacteria.
Yes.
In addition to fighting it off, in other words, we're taking away its food source. As I mentioned earlier, everything on planet Earth needs food to survive from the molecular level on up. And it also helps the stomach rebuild the lining that has been destroyed. So it's a win-win situation. And I didn't have to take that little blue pill. And I'm not knocking the blue pill. I'm just saying that it made me feel lousy because when you take medication and these side effects and your body is saying, what are you doing to me? You need to be able to communicate that with your doctor and say, hey, we got to find another way here.
Yes.
This is like trying to get out and go somewhere in your car and you get out there and you already got 2 flat tires. You're not going to go very far,
Yes. Yes.
I
Exactly.
don't know if you knew that about me, my peptic ulcer or not.
Oh, this is a great story, Jim, because what happened is I seen a lot of my clients who have acid reflux, they have peptic ulcer. The
Mhm.
normal medical procedure is that doctor do something called endoscopy. They put a camera inside their mouth, go
Yeah.
all the way to the stomach to see exactly what's happening. And they
Mhm.
found the H. pylori, which stands for Helicobacter pylori, if some of the scientists there on the call here. So what happened now, if you want to destroy the H. pylori, you make your body alkaline. So
Right.
doing endoscopy and putting the people on Nexium, Pentaloc, omeprazole is basically masking the symptom, but not dealing with the root cause of the disease. The root cause of acid reflux, peptic ulcers, and H. pylori is your body is acidic. Why? Because you're drinking soda, which is acidic. You're drinking too much coffee with
Mhm.
milk or cream and sugar to make you acidic. Actually, sugar is the one that causes acidity in the body. Our body is
Mhm.
supposed to have 7.34, 7.35. Now, for those
Mhm.
of you who don't know what pH is, potential hydrogen, 7 is neutral. Under 7 is acidic, above 7 is alkaline. So if the
Mhm.
body is alkaline, H. pylori cannot have a chance to survive. It cannot cause peptic ulcer. They will die, as Jim was saying. So full hydration, full
Mhm.
oxygenation, and avoiding sugar. By the
Mhm.
way, Jim, I'm sure you know this, and I know Jeremy knows this. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. So if
Oh
you drink
yeah.
soda,
Oh yeah.
it's not that soda that is addictive, it's the sugar in the
Mhm.
soda. And people say, no, I drink diet soda. Actually, diet soda has the aspartame, which is actually worse than sugar. And if you don't believe me, you can Google that.
Yeah.
And by
Yeah.
the way, I just want to make a point here. I did work for the FDA and the CDC, okay, and Health Canada, but
Mhm.
FDA approved aspartame does not mean it's FDA safe. Like
Mhm.
there's a difference between FDA approved and FDA safe. So I'm not going to get into
Oh
the
yeah.
detail of this, otherwise I'm going to get into
Yeah.
trouble here. But the
Yeah.
point is this: aspartame is not safe. If you don't
Mhm.
believe me, go to Google and put aspartame safety criteria or find some clinical
Yeah.
research on aspartame. So we
Yeah.
want to avoid any kind of soda, either regular or diet soda. We want to avoid
Mhm.
anything to do with any commercial juice.
Mhm.
Commercial juice has high fructose corn syrup. Since it was
Oh yeah.
introduced 25 years ago, diabetes cases tripled in numbers.
Mhm.
So
Oh yeah.
avoid any cereal with high fructose corn syrup, any juice with high
Mhm.
fructose corn syrup, because that will make your body acidic, which, as Jim was saying, it'll cause peptic ulcer, it cause leaky gut. The best
Mhm.
advice is to gradually remove yourself from soda, from
Oh
sugar,
yeah.
gradually. Take baby steps, like Jeremy Stone did that. And look
Mhm.
at him now. I mean, he reduced his blood sugar, from 300 to 400 to now it's like 100. It's like 20,
100. Yeah.
25%. I mean, he's my hero. In 2 weeks, he did it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not 3 months. I told him it's going to take 3 months. He done it in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
And he's saving several $100s a month there
Uh,
on
he's on a
medications.
mission with you, Jim,
Yeah.
and me right now to eradicate diabetes and
Yeah.
obesity. We call this new epidemic diabesity
Mhm.
because obesity now, especially for teenage Americans, is huge, and they all have teenage diabetes. Like, it's what are you gonna waiting for? Are you gonna waiting
Yeah.
until they become adult and they have cutting their legs with amputation or getting neuropathy,
Mm.
as Jim was saying? We have to teach the people to go to lunch with no soda and no
Mhm.
cookies and no cereal and have
Oh
healthy
yeah.
vegetables, healthy fruits,
Yeah.
Yeah.
healthy, fiber, thing.
Mhm.
This is what we teach people here at the
Mhm.
Academy of Wellness, and we're going
Yeah.
to have these calls often with Jim here. And thanks for his guidance and
Oh.
interest to promote this wellness all
We're
over the
gonna we're
world.
gonna do some more on
Yes,
this because, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to record the shows here in the studios because people can see it on Facebook Live,
yes,
YouTube Live, and a couple other areas live. And also, it's the shows are available VOD, video on demand.
yes.
And there's one thing I got to say for us coffeeholics out there. I know a lot of people who say, all I drink is decaffeinated coffee. And you know what I was tell them? Look at what they use in the process to decaffeinate those
Right.
beans, and you couldn't get that stuff down my throat unless you tied me down and stuck a funnel in my mouth. And I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm just being straight up. I mean, look at the chemicals they use.
Yes.
My
Yeah.
goodness
They use
gracious.
solvent, and solvents are very harmful for the body. Actually, caffeine
Mm,
itself is very beneficial for the body
mm,
because it has theobromate and theochromate. It's actually very healthy for the body to have 1 or 2 glasses of black coffee, no sugar, no cream,
Right.
black coffee, two glasses, and then between 8 to 12 glasses of water per day to hydrate your body. And this is so important to balance the body here, because wellness is balance and illness is imbalance. So if you're fully hydrated, fully oxygenated, alkaline pH 7.35, that is all you need to prevent cancer. But cancer, by the way, as Jim was saying, cannot exist in alkaline condition. 7.34 will kill cancer cells. It will make them very hard to survive. But for the healthy cells, they thrive in pH 7.35. However, if you're drinking soda, you're eating lots of cookies and sugar and all of the stuff, and your body pH is 6.5, cancer will love this pH. Yeast, especially for women, love this acidic pH, and they become meow. They have a vaginitis, they have yeast infection, and then they have cancer. All of this stuff can be reversed by simple doing the wellness IQ and doing this simple AO scan. So I'm going to offer this scan for you, for your viewers, Jim, today, complimentary. We charge $250. So it's a gift. I'm going to give it to all of your viewers, because Jeremy and you and me now, we want to actually have a plan to eradicate diabetes and obesity, to eradicate this epidemic here. So we're going to offer this. I put my time here for a whole 45 minutes to 1 hour with the clients to help them to detect the red flags, because the device detect and correct frequency. It's not a diagnostic tool. It's a wellness assessment tool. So I know that you're going to be sending me some, clients, and so is Jeremy Stone. We did that. So we're going to help the world here to do this and reverse it.
Yeah. Just be sure to go to the academyofwellness.com and fill out that little form he has there. I think it's 10 questions in it, something like that.
Yes, Wellness IQ, 10 questions, yes.
Wellness IQ. And get set up with Dr. Grant, and, just mention me or Jeremy, and
yes,
he'll just charge. If you mention Jeremy, he'll do it for free. If you mention me, he'll probably charge you double. So you might want to mention Jeremy. but sincerely, treat yourself, because you're entitled to good health.
Yes.
You're entitled to love.
Yes.
You're entitled to enjoy the abundance of the universe. You can't do that if you're sick and ailing.
Yes.
You can't do that if you've got a life-threatening disease.
And that's the secret, for good health, Jim, is I tell people on the website, it's very simple tips here. It's live, learn, laugh, let go, and leave a legacy.
There you go.
Everybody follow this. And then if you have a good sense of humor, like Jim Grant here and Jeremy Stone, you will live long life, not to 101, maybe 111. So for all of your viewers today, I'm going to send them a copy of my book, How to Live Healthy to 111. You already have a copy of it, Jim and Jeremy, and you follow it to the letter every day. And you drink the water slowly, Jeremy, right? And you sip it. And then you actually do the 5 belly breath every hour. And then you do the exercise. You know what? If everybody complying like Jeremy Stone, within 2 weeks, and they can release 10 pounds of fat, and they get rid of all of the toxic medication that they were taking, not helping him at all, we will win this battle against diabetes. We will win this battle naturally. They don't have to spend $300 or $3,000 to manage diabetes, because management of diabetes is not the answer. It's to prevent and to reverse diabetes naturally through education. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it, folks, is that we don't have to preach the gospel to you, because it's kind of like trying to preach the gospel to atheists. We don't have to do that. All you got to do is prove it to yourself. The proof will be in the pudding. And if you do what Dr. Grant is telling you, what Jeremy has done and I've done, you won't go back, because you know that you know that you know that you know.
Right.
You're on the right path. Think about your loved ones, your friends, your life, because you take like diabetes or cancer or heart attacks or heart disease, those affect everybody.
Yep.
They really do. Cancer doesn't just affect one person. The person has it. Yeah, it's a very serious issue with them.
Yes.
But it also affects the family and friends, because they know.
Absolutely. It affects family. You know what, Jim? I want to share this story with you.
Sure.
I've been telling my wife for 42 years to drink her 8 glasses of water. And she drink only about maybe 6 or 5 or 6 or so. But when she listened to Jeremy yesterday, He convinced her to drink the water. He was more effective to convince her to drink the water, and she has a bottle of water beside her right now, and she keep sipping it. You know what? I'm gonna call him Dr. Jeremy Stone from now on.
Well, the topic for today is on hydration, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I just recently really learned the importance of it in my own struggle with diabetes, is that staying hydrated is critical
Yes.
to balancing your blood sugar levels, because it dilutes the glucose
Yes.
in your veins, right? And
Yes.
diabetes is one of the leading causes of death. It is the leading cause of blindness. It is the leading cause of kidney failure. It is
Yes.
the leading cause of amputation of limbs
Yes.
anywhere. And so people, when you think about this diabetes, and people always seem to relate it to just obesity, skinny people have diabetes too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just obese people. And so, we need to understand that, if we're talking about hydration today, that just increasing your intake of water will have a significant impact on the health of your glucose levels, the health of your eyeballs, the health of your kidneys, and the health of your limbs, so you don't lose them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it will also help you mentally too, because
Yes.
it really gives the brain, the fluid it needs for the blood flow.
Yes.
And I can tell you from experience, any increase of blood flow to my brain, people notice it.
Skin. Your skin.
And it helps to have a healthy skin. The skin will glow when you have water.
Yes.
You know what? Every organ in your body, every cells, every tissues, every organs, every system in your body needs water. In fact, when I noticed, Jim and Jeremy, when people start to drink their half the body ounce in water, I also change the mitochondria. This is the stuff. It's inside the nucleus that give you energy, give you something called ATP. So when people drink the water, it will actually give them much better mitochondria, and then they have higher energy. So remember this: hydration, you become high energy. And people will say, I want to do whatever you're doing. I said, okay, I just drink my 12 glasses of water per day, like 3 liters. It's as simple as that. He said, really, that's all? Yeah, that's all there is to it. It's nothing here secrets. And then, of course, we take the supplements because our food now is so deficient.
Oh,
because the soil is depleted. So we take a good high bioavailable supplement. That's what I recommended for Jeremy and Jim. You know what? And that's why they have this good health right now. It's really simple baby steps. And then I cut back on sugar. By the way, I used to be sugarholic. And my wife used to hide the Mars bar, Corona bars from me. I don't just eat 2 or 3. I eat 6 or 7 bars a day. And now I so if I have maybe 1 cookie, that's all I would need, maybe once every 3 days or 4 days. But I used to be sugarholic, and you can actually reduce this by taking baby steps, because sugar make you acidic, as we discussed before. It can cause actually diabetes. There is a correlation, and there is a very strong association by consuming high fructose corn syrup in soda and in cereals and in all of the other stuff that can actually induce and produce diabetes.
Well, folks, we got about 2 minutes left, and we've got to get on another webinar at the top of the hour.
Yes.
But I want to give a quick shout out to Emerson Brantley and the work that we're doing there with Mr. Mike Lewis. Ideas Worth Knowing. They are doing a series of books, and no fiction now, but these are kind of like Chicken Soup or Computers for Dummies or whatever. They're doing a series, and I've got 1 book in there, but as a complimentary gift to you, you can go to Ideas Worth Knowing, and right in the center, it's going to be for you. You can be able to fill out a library card, and you can pick out over, 1 time or 3 times you go back there, but you can get a total of 10 of those books. These are Amazon bestsellers. These are mini books, and there's no strings attached. There's no, they're not going to try to sell you like the RCA Victor or Columbia Records back for us baby boomers. You pay 97 cents, you get 6, and then, then they send you a bill for $29.95. Now, $29.95 in the 60s would fill up a SUV and maybe a pickup too. Back in those days, that'd give you an idea how much money that was. But please go to ideasworthknowing.com, get your free complimentary library card, pick and choose. And maybe you and a friend or a spouse, whoever, you may sit down together and you might say, well, I think I'm going to get that one. And the other person might say, well, I think I'll get that one. Hey, 10 books is 10 books. And you can get one today and two tomorrow, however you want to do it. It's a complimentary. It's our service here. And ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time. We got to get ready to go. We got another show to start in another 5 minutes or so. But we want to personally thank you on behalf of Jeremy and Dr. George Grant for being with us today, because in our hearts, we sincerely hope that you embrace good health.
Yes.
We sincerely hope that you and your loved ones enjoy good health, because you deserve that. You're entitled to that. Just like you're entitled to oxygen.
Yes.
You're also entitled to love yourself first.
Yes.
Then you can love others. And love them enough to sometimes you got to forgive them and let them go, but don't let them cramp your life. And don't let the things that you're doing in your life, as far as what you eat and drink, just rob you of your health and destroy your life. On behalf of Jeremy and Dr. Grant, I'm Jim Grant. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening or day or morning, whenever you get a chance to see this show, whether it's live or on video on demand. But we'll be back. We've got some more great shows lined up coming your way. So stay tuned. Bye-bye. Everybody,
Bye
wave
now.
bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.